Welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Please stay tuned for a new episode. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. So I hope you guys are having a great week because I am. So don't forget to subscribe, share, and rate the podcast because when you do that, it shows me that you are enjoying the content that I am giving out, right? I don't have any trending topics today. I don't think I have any. So we're going to just jump into the topic. And plus I wanted to jump into the topic because I really like what I'm talking about today. So today we're talking about three things that stunt or stop your growth. It's been on my list of topics to discuss for a while, and I felt the push to really talk about this today. So the first thing, because it's important that we look at our own behaviors and thoughts and actions when it comes to our personal growth, right? Like what's stopping you from growing? What's stopping you from being successful, right? And there's many things that can stop you from being successful, you know? So the first thing that I want to talk about is procrastination. And that is defined as the action of delaying and postponing something, right? You could delay something or postpone something for a variety of reasons, right? So I read this article on the Washington Post, and it basically stated that procrastination usually happens when people fear or dread or have anxiety about the important task awaiting them, right? So oftentimes, like I've said in previous episodes, procrastination is tied to fear or anxiety, right? You procrastinate because you are anxious about this activity. You're anxious about this task that you have to complete, right? Sometimes you're afraid of success, or you could be afraid of failing. So instead of, actually going through with completing the activity or the task, you procrastinate until the last minute because you're afraid, like, hey, what if I fail? Or, what if this isn't successful? Or what if this is successful? Like, then what? You know what I'm saying? So it's on both spectrums of why you procrastinate. But procrastination stunts our growth because the things that we need to be doing, we're not doing them because we're afraid, right? God wants us to reach our potential. He wants us to be amazing. He wants us to be successful. He wants us to have the things that He wants us to have. But if we procrastinate, or if we're not obedient to what He says, we might not get those things, right? Or we might get them, but it might not be in the time frame in which He wanted us to get them in the first place, right? The second thing that stunts our growth, so there will be a part 2 to this episode, because I do have other things that hinder our growth. So the second thing I want to talk about is self-doubt, right? So self-doubt is defined as the lack of confidence in oneself and one's abilities, right? So self-doubt occurs when we lack confidence or feel incapable of doing things we need to do. People who doubt about themselves panic about things that will go out of control or not going the way as expected. So when you doubt yourself, you are doubting your abilities and you are doubting your talents. Oftentimes self-doubt is caused because of past experiences or mistakes. Like in the past, you might have made a mistake on something, and now, 10 years later, you're doubting the thing that God called you to do. Another cause of self-doubt is childhood upbringing. So if you were told all the time that you're not good enough, or you can't do this because of X, Y, and Z, or or you'll never amount to anything, or anything along those lines, that could be a cause of your self-doubt of what people said about you. What people said about you as a child. A lot of things that people say to us in childhood and even teenage years can stick with you for a lifetime, right? Because words matter, right? Because somewhere down the line, someone sowed a seed of doubts, and it can grow, and that can grow into a full grown tree of self-doubt, right? Another cause of self-doubt is, the rise of new challenges. You might have new challenges in your life or new situations that stretch you, and you might feel like you're not capable in fulfilling the challenge, right? And another cause of self-doubt is fear of failure. Like I said, fear of failure or fear of success. Right? If you are afraid of failure, or you are afraid of succeeding, it could cause you to doubt yourself. Like, am I good enough for this? Do I have the qualities to fulfill this obligation? Self-doubt can come in many forms. So today I was scrolling on Instagram, and I saw this post that was kind of directly tied to this episode. Actually, it was by Myleik Teal. I've followed her, off and on through the years, and her quote says, "Every now and then I doubt my abilities. Normal. One thing I don't do is stand still in the doubt. I doubtfully move, must keep it moving." Right? That is powerful. So her caption says, "Self-doubt is natural, but yes, there's a but. We have to remove the notion that it's something we created. Self-doubt isn't about self. It's doubt because we compare our progress against others. Our expectations of ourselves is determined by what we've seen someone else do. Even if you don't think it's your best work, put it out and keep going. You can make it better over time. Sometimes we know it needs to be better, but can't seem to figure out how. Put it out and keep going. People will tell you how to make it better over time. Even if the telling stings a little, the bottom line is keep going, right? So even in the midst of self-doubt, like Myleik said, you still have to keep moving. You still have to do the things that the Lord told you to do. You still have to move forward in reaching your goals, right? It might not be the best work. It might not be a masterpiece. It might not be a #1 bestseller, but still put it out. Even if you doubt yourself and everything else that comes with it, but put it out. Right? Because over time, you're going to get better and you're going to improve. Another quote that I saw by William Shakespeare, it says, "Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." Right? Self-doubt just swoops on in, and when it swoops in, we become so fearful of even attempting the thing that we want to do. Right? Having self-doubt is like a traitor. It's like an enemy. It's an enemy to our destiny. It's an enemy to our purpose, because it will make us not want to do something. So the last thing I want to talk about today is lack of discipline. This is a big one, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with discipline, right? It's just something that we all struggle with at one point in time, right? Lack of discipline is super important when it comes to being successful, right? Discipline means to train oneself to do something in a controlled and habitual way. So discipline basically means that you've set certain habits, and even if you lack motivation, you still do those things, right? I think I heard a quote, I think it was on a YouTube. It was a YouTube video, and the person was talking about weight loss, and she was saying when motivation goes away, my discipline kicks in, right? Because you can be motivated for a good little while, like, ooh, I'm motivated to lose weight. Yes, I'm gonna do this. Yes, I'm gonna exercise. Yes, I'm gonna meal prep. And once that motivation goes away, does your discipline kick in or not, right? Because essentially with discipline, you are creating healthy habits, right? So the person on that video was saying, like, yeah, even though some days I'm not motivated, I have a goal in mind, and I've disciplined myself to continue to reach my goal, even if some days I'm not motivated, right? Some days, even if you don't feel like it, you still have to do it, right? Because somewhere along our journey of life, you're going to lose motivation for some things, right? Some days you're not going to want to get up at 6 a.m. Some days you're not going to want to write in your journal. Some days you're not going to want to exercise. But you have to be determined, and you have to be focused, right? To do the things that you said you were going to do to reach your goal, right? Having discipline is necessary with any goal that you want to achieve, right? You have to be focused and decided that you are going to train yourself, right? The key thing about discipline is that you're training yourself, right? So during the time of motivation, you're setting those goals, but discipline takes you long term, right? Takes you long term. Discipline takes you for the long haul, right? So there will be a part 2 of this episode. It'll probably more than likely come out next week. So this episode is about things that hinder our growth, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share this with someone that you think would like this episode, and have a great week.